Are you looking for alternatives to the same old humdrum hummus? Maybe something that will also satisfy your sweet tooth? Well, I have the perfect solution for you here. This is my cookie dough hummus and my birthday cake hummus, and neither one of them is going to eat up all of your bites, points, or calories. And both are delicious. So if you want to see how these are done, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is not just one of mine, but two of mine. I am doing some dessert hummus. As you probably saw from the thumbnail and the title of this video, one is going to be cookie dough, one is going to be birthday cake. I'm going to be starting off with the cookie dough. But before I do, I'm trying to come up with other recipes that I can do, and my brother gave me an Instant Pot and a book of WW recipes for an Instant Pot. And a few of them do look interesting. But I'm wondering if any of you use an Instant Pot, and if you do, let me know down below what are some of your favorite recipes to do in an Instant Pot, whether they're WW friendly or not. If they're not, I will work on them and try to make them WW friendly. And even if you don't have an Instant Pot, what are some of the recipes that you'd like to see lightened up? Let me know down below. I know I have creme brulee on my list, and I believe egg foo young. So those two I have on my list. But if there are any others, something that you want to see fixed up, or something that you use on your journey that you think others would be interested in, let me know down below. All right, so for our cookie dough, which is going to be our first hummus recipe, I have here one 15-ounce can of chickpeas. Could be a 15 or 16-ounce can. Some companies make a slightly different size. It doesn't matter all that much. But you do want to drain and rinse them. Get rid of all of that aquafaba, which is what they call the chickpea juice. I have here 1/4 cup of powdered peanut butter. Now I'm using PB2. You could use PB Fit. Any powdered peanut butter that you use should be fine. Just make sure you always input everything into your recipe builder of whatever app you're using so you get the accurate count for what you are using. I have here 1/4 cup of sugar-free chocolate chips. We are going to make this a chocolate chip cookie dough. If you wanted, you could leave the chocolate chips out, but I do like those little bits of chocolate that are in there. You could also, if you prefer, and we will be using some in our birthday cake hummus, you could change that out and use some sprinkles. I wouldn't use 1/4 cup for that. I'd maybe use 2 or 3 tablespoons at the most. I have here 1/3 cup of almond milk. This is going to make it a little creamier, a little looser. You could reduce that down to 1/4 cup if you like yours a little more dense, but I wanted it slightly more spreadable, so I'm using 1/3 cup. I have here 2 tablespoons of sugar-free maple syrup, and I'm using the Vermont brand, Vermont sugar-free low-calorie syrup. This isn't sponsored. I'm never sponsored, so you can rely on, if I'm using it, I like it. But this, I found you can get 1/4 cup for like 0 bites, 0 blue points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balance plan, which is the equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, which is, I guess, their current plan. But this one is a great syrup to use, very low in bites and points. So that's the one I'm using here. I have here 2 tablespoons of brown sugar replacement. And the one I'm using today is So Nourished Gold Monk Fruit. And there's some erythritol in there, but it doesn't give us the strong aftertaste that a lot of those sweeteners with erythritol do. But I also have used this Splenda Magic Baker Brown 0-calorie sweetener. This works really well, and again, no aftertaste. So whatever brown sugar replacement you use should be fine. I have here 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and just a pinch of salt, which is about 1/8 of a teaspoon, but you don't have to measure it, just a pinch. You could leave it out if you wanted to, but it does help to enhance all of the other flavors, but it's not gonna really be that big of a difference if you leave it out. So let me grab my food processor, because you're gonna need a food processor for this. And we will get started. Okay, so I have my food processor. You're also going to want a silicone spatula or some sort of spoon to scrape down the sides occasionally, because you do want your hummus as smooth as possible. And if any of it gets up on the sides, it won't be processed. So you will want to have a spatula to push that back down. But we're just going to take the lid off. Now I have the chocolate chips off to the side because we're not going to put those in just yet. We're going to put everything else in though. The chickpeas, powdered peanut butter, almond milk, syrup, brown sugar replacement, vanilla extract, and the salt. So now I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to pulse it. I'm going to do long pulses. You could just turn it on and let it run, but I like doing the pulses. That way I know to stop when things start to ride up the side and push them back down. But I'm just going to do maybe like 10-15 second pulses and mix this up. Okay, I'm going to scrape down the sides here and do a few more pulses. Okay, so that looks smooth enough to me. Now what we're going to do is sprinkle in our chips. And we're going to pulse again, but we're going to do shorter pulses because you don't want this processed too finely in there, which is why we're adding it in last, because you want to get some chunks of chocolate chip in there like you would in cookie dough. So I'm going to do shorter bursts and watch and see when I think it's chopped up enough for my liking. I want it to be spread throughout the hummus. So let's get pulsing. Now you'll see once you start pulsing, it's really splattering up the sides because for some reason the sugar-free chips don't like to be chopped up. So they really push against it. So you'll definitely need to do more scraping at this stage than you did earlier. Okay, a few more pulses and I'll check it. I need to scrape down these sides again. And while I'm doing that, I'm looking to see how small the pieces of chocolate chip have gotten. And I think they've gotten pretty much there. I see a few that are still holding on to their shape. I'll give it one more pulse or two, and I think we're gonna be done. Okay, I think that looks good right there. Still see the chocolate chips. They're broken up into little bits, and you do wanna get anything that's on the lid off. Because as I said, once you add those chocolate chips, it's going to want to spray upward. So clear that off. Now I'm going to take out the blade and scrape that off because I've tried to do it with the blade in there and scrape it out, but it's just more challenging. And you do need to be careful that the stuff on the blade doesn't try to sneak away and run down the processor. So now I'm just gonna detach this and put this into my bowl. Okay, and there we have it, our cookie dough hummus. And if you wanted to, like say that you were having a party, you wanted to present it, you could save a few of the chocolate chips, chop those up and sprinkle them on top. But you can see the flecks of chocolate chip in there. It looks just like cookie dough, only a little bit softer and more spreadable. As I said, you could reduce the almond milk if you wanted a little more firm, but it's also going to firm up a little bit as it chills. So let me get this chilling, clean up the food processor, and we'll get started on the birthday cake hummus. Okay, so for our birthday cake hummus, what we're going to need, of course, is a can of chickpeas, again, a 15-16 ounce can. Either one's fine. I have here 1/4 cup of protein powder. Now I'm using the Premier protein powder. You want to make sure it's vanilla to get that birthday cake flavor. But this is one of the least expensive protein powders out there. All the protein powders have different size scoops. This one, the scoop is exactly 1/4 cup, or about 20 grams of whatever protein powder you're using. I have here 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar replacement. I'm using the all-purpose and the raw, which I've mentioned previously. It's the best one we've found for no aftertaste. Paul, my partner Paul, enjoys it, and if there's an aftertaste, he's not gonna eat it. I can usually overlook a little bit of an aftertaste, but this has none whatsoever. I have here 2 tablespoons of almond milk. You could do 3 tablespoons, again, depending on how loose you like your hummus. I have 1 tablespoon of sugar-free maple syrup, again, the Vermont brand. I have here 2 tablespoons of sprinkles. Yes, they are Christmas sprinkles. Don't come at me. Those are the only ones I had, and I didn't want to buy some more just for this recipe. I mean, they're still sweet. What does it matter? But you want 2 tablespoons of those. And again, if you feel like making it pretty, if you're having a party or people over, you can take out a teaspoon of those to sprinkle on top once it's all done. But I'm incorporating it all into the hummus. And last but not least, a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. Again, same rules apply. You can leave the salt out if you need to or want to, but it does help to boost the flavors. All right, so let me grab my cleaned food processor and we'll move on with our birthday cake. And again, I have my spatula here ready to go, and I have the sprinkles off to the side just so I don't forget and throw it in with everything else. Just like with the chocolate chips, you want to pulse them a little bit at the end. They break up much more easily than the chocolate chips, so it doesn't take very much. But I don't want them like fully incorporated in there, so you'll lose some of that confetti type look that I'm going for to give that birthday cake festive feel. So first things first, the chickpeas, protein powder, the sugar replacement, the syrup, the almond milk, the vanilla, and the salt. And again, just like we did with the last hummus, we're gonna pulse until it's smooth. You want this as smooth as possible so you don't get little gritty feel from any unprocessed chickpeas. So I'm gonna get this going. And scrape down the sides because some of that protein powder will fly up onto the edge of the food processor, but this looks like it's almost there. Let me give it another couple of pulses. Now, we're just going to sprinkle in our sprinkles, or jimmies, or whatever you call them where you live. I know there are different names for them. I call them sprinkles. And just a couple of quick pulses just to see it get incorporated and chopped up slightly. Okay, and that's all there is to it. And now I'm going to put this into my bowl, and you can see it is fairly loose like a hummus should be. Now there used to be, I forget what brand it was, Cedars maybe, or Tribe, I don't know. One of them used to have like a cake batter hummus. I have not been able to find that anywhere. So this is a great substitution for that. But I'm just going to scrape this down and get it into our bowl. Okay, and there we have our birthday cake hummus. You can see all those festive little sprinkles in there, even though they're Christmas. Actually, this would be a great Christmas treat. You can dip little graham crackers, little cookies, what have you in here. That would be good, but it's also great any time of the year, whether you use Christmas sprinkles or not. All right, so let me get this in the fridge, do a little cleanup, and we will go over those nutrition facts. Okay, so there we have them, our cookie dough hummus and our birthday cake hummus. Both are delicious. Each one makes about 1.5 cups, so you will get 2 tablespoon servings out of each one of these. Now, as I was saying, you can serve these with graham crackers, you can serve them with any other sort of little cookie. What I like doing with them is taking these Wasa crisp breads. You can have 2 of these for just one bite or point. So I like having 2 of these with some of the hummus spread on it. It's really good, gives you a nice little crunch, so you're not missing out on that satisfying crunch that you get from a lot of snacks. The nutrition facts for each of these. For the cookie dough, as I said, about a 2 tablespoon serving would be just 1 Better Balanced Bite or Old Blue Point or Current Point. Now, if you're following calories, the calories for this would be 62. And if you are following macros, the fat would be 1.7 grams. The carbs would be 11.1 grams. The fiber would be 2.9 grams. And the protein would be 3.3 grams for the cookie dough hummus. For the birthday cake hummus, it's even better. 0 Better Balanced Bites or Blue Points per serving. Now, I did want to mention that if you don't want to use the protein powder, a lot of these kind of cake batter, birthday cake hummuses use flour. The reason I didn't want to use flour is because flour is a raw product, and it can be dangerous to consume raw because there's bacteria that is possible. So I prefer not to do it in this application. But if you want to, you can, and to safely do it, you would heat treat your flour. Now, to heat treat your flour, what you would do is put it into a microwave safe bowl. You would put it into the microwave on high for about 1 minute and 30 seconds, stirring it about every 15 seconds just to distribute the heat. You want it to reach about 160 degrees to make sure that there is no bacteria. And in that time period, that should definitely do it. I prefer sticking with the protein powder. For one, I get more protein. For another, I don't have to worry about heat treating it. And yes, I'm sure that the chances of bacteria in your flour are slim, but there have been outbreaks, so I'd rather not chance it. But again, you easily can just by heat treating the flour before you add it in. But with using the protein powder, this is going to be 0 bites or points. And I'm not sure that the flour would add enough bites and points to change that in the recipe, but it could. Now, if you omitted the chocolate chips from the cookie dough, it would be 0 bites or 0 points per serving. But why leave out the chocolate chips? Or sprinkles if you prefer doing sprinkles, making it more like a sugar cookie dough. Now, if you were following calories, the birthday cake is 50 calories a serving. And if you were following macros, the fat would be 0.7 grams. The carbs would be 9.3 grams. And again, that's me using the protein powder. If you used flour, that would change. The fiber would be 1.8 grams, and the protein would be 3.4 grams. So either one is a great option, or you could have a little bit of both. Why not? Because those Wasa crackers are so low in bites and points, I will sometimes, if I'm feeling a real craving coming on, have 4 Wasa crackers for just 2 bites, and then put some birthday cake on 2 and some cookie dough on 2 others. So you can have your birthday cake and your cookie dough too. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd appreciate you doing the usual like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video, such as this Sunday. I announced the other day, this Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, I am doing a live chat. If any of you are interested in joining in, you would receive a notification when that happens if you have your notification bell checked. Now, the recipe for these will both be down in my description box, linked directly to these recipes and also to my blog itself. Also down there is my Amazon storefront, my Built Bar rewards, Fetch rewards, Skinny Syrups code, and my social media. If you'd like to follow me over there, there's my Instagram and 2 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So check out that description box for all sorts of information. So I'm going to go decide which of these 2 beauties I'm going to dig into first, or I might just dip into them both at the same time. And I hope you will soon be trying these yourself. So until next time, bye.